and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. I've got a long sleeve top on and it feels autumnal and lovely. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I received in the latter half of September and the first few days of October. I've called it my October book haul. Let's go with it. I've got books that aren't out yet. I've got books that have just come out. I've got books that are old. I've got books I've bought. I've got books I've been sent from the publishers. I've got books that Mercedes bought to me. I've got books, and I will start with a book that has come out today. I'm filming this on Thursday the 4th of October. This book is out today. This is a proof copy. This is Bloody Brilliant Women by Cathy Newman. This is a book about women in history that we got neglected to be taught about when we were younger. I didn't do history for GCSE. I stopped history at how old was I? What's year 9? 13. Well, I did my last history lesson, and in here I've just read the intro. Cathy talks about how she did Anglo-Saxons about 6 times. Well, I feel the same, but I think I did the Industrial Revolution about 6 times in my whole history career. I definitely didn't learn about any women in history, so this is very, very enjoyable. What's also very enjoyable is that they sent me a tote bag that says I am a bloody brilliant woman, which I am, so that's going to be used constantly. In fact, I'm about to go down to the farm shop. I'm going to use it then. And they also sent me a pin which says Bloody Brilliant Women. Look at this amazing pin. I love a pin, but that's amazing, from the Literary Emporium. So very, very happy about that. So yeah, excited. Tote, pin, book about women. Wonderful times. Where shall I put these things? I'm so spread out. I've got so many books to show you and it's just going to get madness. Right, okay, the next book I've got is one that has also just recently come out. It is a picture book. It's a story by Jessie Burton. It's called The Restless Girls, and this is illustrated by Angela Barrett. Now, I am pumped and excited about this. When the publisher got in touch with me and said, did I want a copy, I was like, hell yes. This was actually, I was going to put this on my Christmas list, so Christmas has come early for me. This is a feminist fairy tale of sisterhood. It talks about 12 sisters, and how the eldest sister, Princess Frida, will not bend to the will of her father, who cannot bear the idea of the princesses ever being in danger, and decides that his daughters must be kept safe at all costs. Now, the illustrations look fantastic. Look, there is some girls in pyjamas dancing with a cat. A big cat. So yeah, very, very much looking forward to working my way through that. Beautiful, beautiful. I then have one that I bought myself from Daunt Books, actually, and it's actually published by Daunt as well. Oh, I don't know if you're going to see this because I've got my light on. So this is Christmas with Doll People by Saki, and in here it says that this is 4 stories that talk about spending the festive period with doll people. Now, as you may know, I love Christmas, and I always look for books to read in December. Oh, goodness me. Oh, I bought it from Daunt Books when I was at Jen's book launch, so I've got a couple of Franklin bookmarks here. Look at those guys. Oh, look, they're so cute. So yeah, I love Christmas, and I'm always looking for books to read around the Christmas period, and I had not heard or seen of this before, so I snapped it up. It's actually very, very beautiful. I know you can't see because of the light, but it's white. It's got all these gorgeous, like, gold foiling on it, and I just feel like that will be quite fun. So yes, I'm very excited about that. And then I've also been sent by the publisher Among the Barley by Melissa Harrison, which is, sounds very exciting. Come on then, Minnie. Oh my god, just say hello. You're a bit frightened. Come here, little girl. Oh, look. Love you so much. We had a lovely cuddle this morning in bed. Oh, this is not a lovely cuddle. Oh, your claws are always out, even back claws. Even her back claws are out. This tail's going to be there, isn't it? Sorry, so this is set in the autumn of 1933, and it follows Edie Mather, who lives on a farm called Witch Farm, and someone called Constance Fitzallen arrives from London to document fading rural traditions and belief. For Edie, who must soon face the unsettling pressures of adulthood, the glamorous and worldly outsider appears to be a godsend, but there is more to the older woman than meets the eye. It sounds very cosy, very autumnal, very much looking forward to this. Very, very excited. Then I have a whole host of books. Went to visit Mercedes, not last weekend, the weekend before, which was lovely. We made a video talking about Nevermore, which is one of our favourite books of the year. I will link that video down below. It's quite spoiler free, but in general, we're just talking about how much we love Nevermore. But while I was there, she had a big bag of books that she was getting rid of. And she was kind enough to say, did you want a little rummage through them? I said, yes, I would absolutely love a little rummage through them. The first one I've got is one that I've already read. And reviewed on this channel, so I won't go into much detail, but I love this front cover. So this is the Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver, which I actually did as a buddy read with Mercedes, but my edition was just not very nice at all. It was sort of like a bit like beige and boring and just not fun. And whenever Mercedes showed this edition, I was like, that is bloody gorgeous. And she had 2, so she kindly passed one on to me. So I will reread this at some point because I really did enjoy it, but we'll read it with even more joy and glee on my face now that I have a beautiful edition. The next one she gave me is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which I am constantly being told, you must read this, you must read this. So when I saw that she was getting rid of this, I was like, I will have that. This is all set in Greek mythology. It follows Patroclus, an awkward young prince who's been exiled to the court of King Peleus and his perfect son Achilles. And Achilles and Patroclus become pals, and yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I'm forever being told to read Madeline Miller, so looking forward to that. A few of these, I was sort of like, Mercedes was just going, you'll like this, you'll like this, you'll like this. So we may well have to learn with them together. This is Sweetgirl by Travis Mulhauser. This follows Percy, who's 16, and her mother, who is very disappointing to Percy. So so her mother's been gone for 9 days, and she's been seen up at Shelton Potter's farmhouse, which can only mean she's strung out on meth again, and who knows when she'll be back. So it's set during a blizzard, and all sorts of things are going on, and it follows from a young girl's point of view, which I love. Yeah, I think it'll be very good and wintry. The next one I've got is a few of these I've never even heard of, so I was very excited. Touch by Alexei Zentner. This is follows Stephen, who is a middle-aged priest, and he sits down on the eve of his mother's funeral to write her eulogy. And this follows the it weaves stories of 3 generations of one family, and it tells from the village of Sorgamet, which was originally a gold mining village, where deep in the forest reign gold caribou drinking from a honey-sweet river. And it says, yet also in the forest lurk malevolent shapeshifters disguising themselves as friends, storms raging against foolhardy settlers, and the forest taking back the land for itself, branch by branch and root by root. Beautiful. I'm aware this bright light is not the best lights for showing off white books. Thankfully, the next one is a dark book. This is The Hazel Wood by Melissa Albert. I've seen this. I've heard this is sort of like, it's not, look at those lovely blue pages. I've heard that this is like quite close to YA, but it's not YA. Or is it YA? And it's, no, I don't think it is YA. I don't think it is YA. It follows Alice, who spent most of her life on the road, and her grandmother is very reclusive, and she has written a book of very dark fairy tales, and then and she stays like on an isolated estate and doesn't really talk to anyone. And then her mother is stolen by a figure who claims to come from the supernatural world where the fairy tales are set. Alice's only clue is the message left behind: stay away from the Hazelwood. So yeah, it's supposed to be sort of creepy and atmospheric, and yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. The next one I'm very, very excited about because I've wanted to read it for a long time. It's a very, very short book. It is Binti by Nnedi Okorafor, who I keep hearing wonderful things about, particularly from Jean, from Jean's Bookish Thoughts. I want to read A Catawitch, which is another book that she's written. Oh my God, I'm excited. This is science fiction. I don't often read science fiction. It's also super, super short. It's 90 pages and it follows Binti, and she's the first person of her people, which is the Himba people, to be offered a place at Umza University. But as she accepts the offer, she sort of isolates herself from her family. I just feel like the actual backing, like that's a lot of stuff to fit in 90 pages, so I feel very, very excited about that. And there is some I think this is the first in a trilogy maybe, so yeah, I'm gonna read this. I will probably read this month because it's so short, so that's that. The next one is one that I had got out from the library and actually is due back at the library, so to be able to get my own copy for free from Mercedes, I was very happy. This is The Wicked Cometh by Laura Carlin. This is what I looked at the first pages, and I'm very excited that the first page is a newspaper article. It is set in London in 1831. And it follows Hester White, who's a bright young woman who's desperate to escape the slums by any means possible. And the first newspaper article talks about how people are going missing and things like that. So it just sounds like it's going to be very, very fun. It says here, when Hester is thrust into the world of the aristocratic Brock family, she leaps at the chance to improve her station in life under the tutelage of the fiercely intelligent and mysterious Rebecca Brock. So I think Mercedes is hosting the autumn readathon, and I think maybe this might be a book that I read, historical fiction. Yes, yes, yes. And then the last book I got from Mercedes is one that I'm also very excited about. It is Sealskin by Sue Bristow, and it is about a young man called Donald, who is a young fisherman, and he is living a lonely living on the west coast of Scotland. And it is a book about selkies, which are seals who can transform into people. It says it here, it's a magical story evoking the harsh beauty of the landscape, the resilience of people, both human and animal, and the triumph of hope over fear and prejudice. So yeah, I am looking forward to that as well. So a host of good books from Mercedes. Thanks very much. Gonna have to try and fit them in here somewhere. So the next lot of books I've got, I'll stop facing away before I do it, are all books that aren't quite out yet. And I will go through, I've put them, I mean, I've really planned this well. I've put them in order. So the first book is a book that is out on the 1st of November. And that is The Light in the Dark, a winter journal by Horatio Clare. Now, Mercedes bought me Icebreaker, which is a book by Horatio Clare for Christmas last year, and we are going to buddy read that again during the autumn readathon. But this is a moving winter diary and an evocative exploration of the seasons that reveals the healing power of the natural world. I'm going to probably read this in November. It's out in November. I'll probably read it in November because it starts, the blurb starts, as November stubs out the glow of autumn and the days tighten into shortened hours, winter's occupation begins. Preparing for winter has its own rhythms, as old as our exchanges but with the land. Of all the season it draws us together, but winter can be tough. It just sounds fantastic. It also, I don't feel like it's going to take me very long at all. It's 202 pages long, but the font is very, very big and doesn't really take up much of the page. So I don't think it will take very long. I've just flicked and it's gone to 25th of December, Christmas Day. It was meant to be. So that's one book. And then the next books are all out in 2019. The first four are out in, no, sorry, the first three are out in January 2019. This first one I picked up at the Headline Publishing event. Simon kindly took me along as his +1 to the Headline Publishing event, which he was hosting, and I met Nadia Hussain. I may have gone on about that. And Richard Lumsden was there talking about his book. He was actually on the panel with Deborah Mogger, who writes, she's got a new book coming out called, I think it's called The Carer, and she is the author of The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. My God, she was hilarious. She was absolutely hilarious. So he was sort of outshined by Deborah Mogger a bit, but I do like the sound of his book. This is The Six Loves of Billy Binns by Richard Lumsden, and it talks about, he is talking about the love of his life. And when I saw, when this was being discussed, it was saying if you like things like the Pilgrimage of Harold Fry and things like that, this will be for you. So yeah, that's out in January. Another book that's out in January, which I didn't even know was coming, Skepta just sent it to me, which actually, I mean, they've just sent it to me, and I've seen a few people putting pictures of it on Instagram and stuff, but this sounds like I'm going to be really into it. It's set in Ireland, and you know I love a book set in Ireland, and it's about a man called, hold on, let me get my gear out, Maurice Hannigan, and it's him sitting in a bar one night, and he raises 5 toasts to 5 different people in his lifetime. It sounds very sort of cozy, and here Kit DeWall, who is another one of my favourite authors, says it's beautifully written, unhurried and thoughtful, and a character you love from the off. It's also got a quote here from John Boyne as well, who is another incredible author. So yeah, that's out on the 24th of January. Looking forward to reading that. And then I've got another book here, which is a thriller out in January 2019. This is The Flower Girls by Alice Clark Platts. This is a proof copy, but this is what the actual finished copy is going to look like. The Flower Girls. And it says 3 children went out to play, only 2 came back. And I've read the first chapter, which is set in 1997, and it's talking about the children playing in a playground, and I feel like it's going to all happen then. So yeah, that's out in 2019 January. And then a book that is out in February 2019, which I also picked up at the Headline event. This is written by Harriet Tice. She was on, they had a crime panel talking about 3 crime books that were coming out. This is Blood Orange, and it follows Alison, who is she has it all. She's got a loving husband, a daughter, a career on the rise, and she's about to defend her first murder case. Why is she risking everything for someone who treats her with no respect? And the client that she is defending stabbed her husband, and she wants to plead guilty, and then she thinks that something in her story sounds a bit off. Simon's read this and he said it was very gripping and a bit saucy. So that's that. And then the last book I've got isn't out until May 2019. So this is like early proofs, guys. And the lovely Emma at Book Break sent this to me, and this is The Doll Factory by Elizabeth McNeill. This is the front cover. It's got like, is this called a cloche? Is this called a cloche? I think so. And it is set in London in 1850. I'm loving all the historical fiction that we're getting my hands on. And this is about a great exhibition that's being built in Hyde Park, and among the crowd watching the spectacle, 2 people meet. For Irish and aspiring artists, it's the encounter of a moment, forgotten seconds later. But for Silas, a collector entranced by the strange and beautiful, the meeting marks a new beginning. I think it becomes very sort of creepy, and he becomes obsessed with her and all sorts. So yeah, that is out in May 2019. I don't think I've ever had a book like so early. So there is some hype about this. Elizabeth McNeill as well. I follow her on Instagram and Twitter. Oh my God, she makes the most beautiful pottery I've ever seen in my life. Amazing. So those are the books that I've got my hands on in September and October. Are you guys reading any of these? Have you read any of them? Are you looking forward to any of them? And yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know. Oh God, this glare is so bad, isn't it? These are what my eyes look like. Hi. And I will see you all again soon for another booktube video.